The Los Angeles skyline sparkled like a jagged crown through my studio window when Leo knocked on the door one humid July evening with his guitar case slung over his shoulder. At 46, I'd been a sound engineer for 20 years, running Echo Pulse Studios in a converted loft downtown, a sanctuary of mixers, microphones, and creativity I'd carved out after my divorce from Mark a decade ago. The split had left me with this space, a quiet apartment upstairs, and a relentless drive to mold raw talent into tracks that resonated beyond these soundproof walls I called home. Leo, my brother's 18-year-old son, stood there in a worn hoodie, his guitar gripped tight, his hazel eyes shadowed with a heartbreak that hit me like a low-frequency hum from across the room. Anna, my girlfriend dumped me hard, and I can't stay home. Can I crash here and work on some music? He asked, voice low and strained. His slumped posture and the way he clutched his case screamed a need for more than a place to sleep. He wanted an escape from the wreckage she'd left behind in San Diego. All right, you can stay in the spare room upstairs, but you'll record and help out around the studio to earn your keep, I said, adjusting a microphone stand I'd been fine-tuning earlier that afternoon. He nodded quick, setting his gear by the couch with a soft thud, and said, "Thanks, I need this. Something to focus on. Keep my head from spinning over her every single night. I'm Anna, by the way, in case you forgot your aunt's name in all that teenage breakup chaos you're dragging in here," I said, offering a small, steady smile. He grinned faintly, the shy kid I remembered from family gatherings peeking through, and replied, "I know who you are, Aunt Anna. Don't worry, I'm not that messed up yet, not completely." The first week, Leo trailed me through the studio like a quiet shadow, eager, lugging cables, watching me tweak tracks for a local indie band cutting their debut EP with focused intensity. He was wiry but strong, his arms tanned from summers surfing down south, and he picked up fast how to position mics, adjust input levels, run the mixing board without clipping the sound into a distorted mess. I'd catch him staring off, fingers tapping a restless rhythm on his knee, probably replaying her final words in his head, and I'd call out, "Leo, focus. Move that mic closer to the vocalist. We're losing the edge of her high notes." He'd snap to it, shifting the stand with a quick nod and mumble, "Sorry, got lost for a second. Won't let it throw me off again, I promise." Nights, we'd unwind in the control room, city lights flickering outside the tall windows, takeout boxes piled on the desk, coffee cooling as we listened to the day's rough mixes through the studio monitors. He'd open up, how she'd ended it after a year together, how he'd caught her texting some guy from her art class behind his back, and I'd nod, sipping my drink, saying, "She didn't see you, someone worth it will come along. Just takes time to find them, Leo." He'd lean back, cup cradled in his hands, and reply, "Maybe, but you get it. Running this place solo, you're tougher than she ever was, tougher than most." A shift crept in slow, his glances when I stretched after hours hunched at the console, the way he'd linger near me adjusting a knob, his elbow brushing mine in a way that wasn't accidental anymore. I'd shrug it off, tell myself it was nothing, just a kid finding his footing in a new space, but my skin tingled when his eyes held too long, stirring a warmth I hadn't felt since Mark still shared the studio with me years ago. Thursday night, 2 weeks in, the air thickened. It was late, past 1 in the morning. The studio, quiet except for the soft hum of gear cooling down after a marathon vocal session with a demanding singer. We'd finished tracking her parts, my tank top damp with sweat from hours at the board, my hair loose and messy after tugging off the headset that kept it pinned back all day long. "I'm taking a break. Lock the booth. I'll be back in a few," I told him, rolling my neck to ease the stiffness as he nodded and headed to the soundproof room with a tired, dragging shuffle. The lounge corners my retreat, couch, speakers, a nook where I'd blast tracks to clear my head after a long shift in the controlled chair under the studio's dim lights. I kicked off my shoes, peeled off my tank to cool down in just my sports bra, and plugged in my headphones, letting a bass-heavy mix thrum through me as I swayed to the beat, losing myself in the rhythm. Didn't hear his steps, didn't hear the door creak, until I spun mid-move and saw Leo in the doorway, cables coiled in his hand, eyes wide, frozen as he took in my bare shoulders, the sway of my hips in the soft glow of the lounge lamp. Anna, I was just bringing these back. Didn't know you were here like this," he stammered, gaze flicking over me before darting up fast, his face flushing red under the studio's ambient light. I yanked the headphones off, grabbing my tank from the couch, and said, "Leo, give me a heads up next time. Go finish up, I'll be out in a sec, okay, no big deal?" He nodded quick. "Sorry, didn't mean to, I'll just," and bolted, cables dangling as he vanished back to the booth, leaving my pulse racing hard against the silence that followed his retreat. I stood there, breath uneven, pulling the shirt on fast, telling myself it was an accident. Young eyes wandering, nothing to overthink or turn into a dramatic scene just yet. But when I walked out, adjusting my hair, he wouldn't meet my gaze, just sat at the board, fiddling with sliders, his neck pink, a tension settling over us like a reverb tale I couldn't fade out. Friday morning, the vibe was strained. He avoided my eyes over coffee, stirring his mug endlessly as I toasted bagels in the kitchenette upstairs from the studio loft. "Pass the cream cheese. Don't sit there like you're hiding something from me," I said, keeping it casual, but later, I caught him watching. When I bent to grab a cable from the floor, his stare traced my arms, my back, steady and curious, not a kid's look anymore, not by a long shot. I'd been alone too long. Years since Mark, years of fading into the studio's hum, and now Leo's attention sparked something, a heat I didn't want to name but couldn't ignore as it simmered under my skin. "Band's in today. Guitar overdubs, you're on mic placement, so don't mess it up," I said, handing him a stand, needing work to bury last night's moment under layers of sound and routine tasks. He took it, nodding. "Got it, I'll set it right. Learned from watching you run this place like a total pro," his smile tight, eyes flicking to me then away fast as he moved to the booth. We worked close, him setting mics, me at the board, his arm brushing mine adjusting a stand, a touch that lingered too long, a quiet pull I didn't call out but felt in every nerve. That night, we ate in the control room. Sushi from a spot on Sunset Boulevard, green tea steaming, the city's pulse thumping outside as we reviewed the day's guitar takes through the speakers. "She didn't get me. Thought music was a phase, not who I am at my core," he said, voice low, chopsticks pausing as he stared at his plate of rolls. I leaned back, sipping tea, and replied, "Her mistake. You've got soul, a spark, more than she'll ever see in her narrow little world. Leo, trust me." His eyes met mine, holding steady, and he said, "You're different, real. Built this from scratch. Don't need anyone to tell you your worth, Anna." Took years. Mark leaving showed me I'm enough, with or without someone beside me in this life, I said, voice calm but firm, steady as the bass line we'd mixed. He shifted, knee nudging mine under the desk, and said, "You're more than enough, stronger, cooler than she ever was to me. Way more than that." Easy, Leo. Words like that stir waters we don't need to dive into just yet, I warned, but my pulse jumped, his closeness buzzing like a live track running hot through my veins. Saturday, I took him to a gig, client showcase at a club on Hollywood Boulevard, a break from the studio to hear our mixes live in a packed, sweaty room. He stood close, shoulder brushing mine in the crowd, and when the band hit a riff he'd helped record, he grinned. "Sounds killer. Your magic, Aunt Anna, all over it." I laughed. "Our magic. You're part of it now, kid, whether you see it or not." His hand grazing my arm as he steadied me in the jostle, a warmth I didn't shake off quick enough in the chaos. Back at the loft, we cooked, tacos, salsa simmering on the stove, music playing low, and he leaned on the counter, watching me chop onions, his voice soft. "You're good at this. Everything, really, makes me want to stick around longer than I planned." I smirked. Years of feeding myself, had to learn or starve, and I'm too stubborn for takeout every night, Leo, you know that. We ate on the couch, legs brushing under a shared blanket, and when he reached for a napkin, his fingers grazed mine, lingering, a question I didn't answer but felt deep in my chest like a sustained note. Sunday, a heat wave rolled in, studio sweltering despite the AC. Us tweaking tracks, his shirt off, sweat shining as he hauled speakers, his eyes catching mine too often now. "You're a machine, don't even blink in this heat. Just keep going like it's nothing," he said, wiping his face with a towel, gaze steady, warm, a look that stuck longer than it should have stayed there. Part of the gig, can't let a little warmth stop me when deadlines don't wait for anyone, not even me, I said, but my voice softened, his nearness tugging at something I couldn't push away anymore, not entirely. Monday, we stayed late, mixing a demo in the control room, air thick with heat, his arm brushing mine adjusting faders, a rhythm too easy, too close for comfort now. She didn't care, just wanted some guy with a plan, not me, not this life, he said, voice low, pausing the track as his hand rested near mine on the desk, inches away. I turned, meeting his gaze, and replied, her loss, you're real, got talent, more than she'll ever value in her shallow little existence, Leo. He leaned closer, eyes dark in the console's glow, and said, you see it, see me, and it's better with you, means more than she ever did to me. Leo, slow down. This is a line, and we're too near it to act like it's not right there, I said, but my hand stayed close, pulse racing hard against my ribs like a drumbeat. His fingers brushed my wrist, slow, warm, and he murmured, saw you Thursday. Keeps coming back. Can't let it go, Anna. Not even if I wanted to try. My breath hitched, skin tingling where he touched, and I said, that's risky. We can't, you know it. So why lean into it when it's so complicated? Feels right, better than right, and I'm not scared of it, are you, even a little? He said, voice soft, shifting closer, his breath warm on my cheek, his presence heavy like a live mic picking up every sound. I didn't move, froze, heart pounding, and his hand stayed on my wrist, firm, a connection I didn't break, my fingers brushing his arm, steadying me against the pull. We paused, air charged like a feedback loop, and I whispered, no one knows, ever, promise me, Leo, or this stops cold right here and now. Promise? Ours. Secret. I won't tell a soul. Anna, not ever, he breathed, hand tightening slightly, sealing it as the studio hummed, shadows wrapping us tight in their quiet embrace. Tuesday, he was edgy, coffee poured early, handing me a mug as I walked into the kitchenette, hair damp from a quick shower after a restless night. We good? Last night. I don't want it awkward. Just need to know we're okay with this moving forward. He asked, voice low, eyes searching mine like he'd crumble if I said no to him now. We're fine. Keep it quiet, set boundaries, don't let it slip where it shouldn't, and we'll manage it somehow, I said, sipping slow, watching him nod, relief softening his tense frame as he exhaled a shaky breath. Days tightened into a rhythm, sessions, him tweaking tracks beside me catching his looks, his hand brushing mine passing cables, a secret threading through every glance and touch like a hidden melody. One afternoon, a client snapped, some diva singer griping about reverb levels, and Leo stepped in, voice calm. Chill. She's fixing it better than you deserve, so back off a bit. Let her work. I smirked later, handing him a water. Nice save, didn't need it, but you've got spine standing up to her like that, kid. Learned from you. Tough. Don't bend for anyone. Not even the loud ones, he said, grinning, leaning close, his hand grazing my shoulder, a spark I didn't douse fast enough to hide. That night, we ate out back, pizza on the loft's tiny balcony, city buzzing below, and he sat close, knee pressed to mine, saying, you're everything she wasn't real. Here, and it's all I need right now, Anna. Leo, easy. We're balancing something fragile, and it could crack if we're not careful with it, I said, but my voice softened, his nearness a pull I couldn't fight off completely, not anymore. Wednesday, Mark called, checking in, voice flat and distant, asking about the studio like he still had a claim after all these years gone by now. I barely listened, eyes on Leo testing a mic in the booth, shirt off, sweat gleaming under the lights, and cut him off. Busy sessions gotta go, hanging up as Leo grinned. Ex still nosy? Tell him you've got better help these days, way better. I laughed. He'd faint if he knew who's keeping this place humming now, kid. The air light but edged with something deeper we didn't name yet, just let it hang. Thursday, a rush hit, band booked tight, me mixing, Leo running mics, his hand brushing mine passing gear, eyes catching mine too long, a tech noticing, you two sync well. Family thing? I nodded. Nephew, learning fast, but felt his stare. a heat that burned through the room's noise and chatter loud and clear as day. Later, alone, he said, "They see it. We're good together. You and me, like this, don't you think?" His hand on my arm, a spark I didn't pull away from fast enough to pretend it wasn't there. Friday, we hit a wall. Gear glitched, a preamp frying mid-session, and Leo groaned, "This is a nightmare. Why do we deal with this junk every day?" I grabbed his shoulder, firm. "Calm down, it's the job, and you don't get to lose it on me now, not after all this." He froze, eyes flashing, then nodded. "Sorry, just stressed, didn't mean to snap at you, Anna, honest." His hand brushing mine as he relaxed, a heat that lingered longer than it should have stayed. Saturday, a storm brewed, clouds dark, thunder rumbling, us racing to backup tracks before power flickered, his arms steadying me as I tripped over a cable in the rush. "Got you, won't let you fall in this chaos," he said, voice steady, eyes locked on mine, rain streaking the windows as we stood too close together. "Careful, don't need a hero, but it's nice you're there when I stumble," I said, half smiling, his hand sliding off slow, a warmth I couldn't dismiss as the storm raged outside. Sunday, we cooked pasta, sauce bubbling, him chopping garlic, his elbow brushing mine at the counter, saying, "You make this look easy. Everything, even the hard stuff." I smirked. "Practice. Had to learn or live on ramen, and I'm too proud for that. Leo always have been." We ate inside, legs tangled under the table, and when he reached for salt, his fingers grazed mine, steady, a pulse I felt deep like a bass drop I couldn't mute. Monday, a client praised us, some producer. "You two are a team, got a vibe," and Leo grinned. "She's the pro. I'm just keeping up, learning from the best." I nodded. He's quick. Picks up what I throw at him, but felt his hand brush my back passing a chair, a spark that lingered, quiet, bold, a secret growing louder every day. Tuesday night, late, studio still. Us at the board, coffee cold, his leg pressed to mine, silence heavy with everything unsaid. Everything felt between us now like a live wire humming. "I keep seeing you Thursday every night. It's in me, Anna. Can't shake it no matter what," he said, voice low, hand sliding to my wrist, firm, a fire I couldn't put out even if I tried hard to do it. "Leo, we're past safe. Too late to stop. Too soon to know what this is, what it could mean," I said, breath short, his fingers tightening, pulling me closer, eyes locked on mine, steady and unyielding. He leaned in, close, breath warm on my cheek, his hand firm on my wrist, mine on his arm, a closeness swallowing us like a live mix filling the room. We held there, trembling, air thick, and I whispered, "This is ours, hidden, locked, or it's nothing. Swear it again, Leo, right now, no hesitation." "Ours, hidden, locked, I swear, Anna, always, no matter what." He breathed, hand steady, sealing it as the studio folded around us, a secret humming low and deep in the quiet night. Wednesday morning, he was restless, coffee brewing early, handing me a mug as I shuffled in, voice shaky. "We still okay? Need to know this works, Anna." I sipped. "We're good. Keep it silent, careful, and we'll figure it out step by step, day by day." Watching him relax, a secret tying us tighter with every shared moment in this space. Wednesday morning dawned gray, the Los Angeles skyline muted through the studio window as Leo handed me a steaming mug of coffee with unsteady hands. He'd been restless since our late-night session, pacing, brewing coffee early, his hazel eyes darting to mine like he feared I'd unravel everything we'd built over these weeks. "We still okay after last night, Anna? I need to know this works, that we're not breaking apart," he asked, voice low and raw, searching my face for reassurance amid the quiet hum of the waking city outside. I took the mug, sipping slow, and replied, "We're good. Keep it silent, careful, and we'll figure it out step by step, day by day, Leo." Days tightened further, studio sessions blurring into a rhythm, him tweaking tracks beside me catching his glances, his hand brushing mine passing cables like a melody we couldn't mute. One evening, a storm rolled in, thunder rattling the loft, rain streaking the glass, and we raced to save mixes, his arm steadying me as I tripped over a power cord in the flickering light. "Got you, won't let you fall in this mess, not ever," he said, voice firm, eyes locked on mine, rain shadowing his face as we stood too close in the chaos. "Careful. Don't need a hero, but it's nice you're there when I stumble, kid," I said, half smiling, his hand sliding off slow, a heat lingering like a live wire between us. Thursday, a client praised our work, some producer grinning. "You two are a unit, got a vibe that sings," and Leo beamed. "She's the pro. I'm just keeping up, learning from the best every day." I nodded. He's quick. Picks up what I throw at him. Makes it work, but felt his hand brush my back passing a chair, a spark that burned quiet, bold, a secret growing louder in every shared breath. Later, alone, he leaned close over the board, adjusting a fader, and said, "They see it. We're good together. You and me. Don't you feel it too?" I met his gaze, steady, and replied, "Leo, we're on thin ice. Good or not, it's fragile, so don't push too hard yet." Friday night, the storm lingered, studio dark, us at the console, coffee cold, his leg pressed to mine, silence thick with everything unsaid, everything pulsing between us like an untracked beat. "I keep seeing you, Thursday, every night since, it's in me, Anna. Can't shake it no matter how hard I try," he said, voice low, hand sliding to my wrist, firm, a fire I couldn't extinguish even if I wanted to stop it. "Leo, we're past safe. Too late to turn back. Too soon to know what this is, what it could become," I said, breath short, his fingers tightening, pulling me closer, eyes locked on mine with an intensity one couldn't dodge. He shifted, closer, breath warm on my cheek, his hand steady on my wrist, mine resting on his arm, a closeness wrapping us like a live mix filling the room with unspoken resonance. We held there, air trembling, his shoulder brushing mine, and he murmured, "You're all I think about, here every second, more than she ever was, Anna, way more." My pulse hammered, skin alive where he touched, and I said, "This is dangerous, deeper than we planned, and we can't let it spill where it doesn't belong, not ever." His eyes darkened, voice soft. "I don't care about danger. Feels real with you, better than real, and I'm not running from it now." I didn't pull away, couldn't. His heat sinking in, my hand sliding to his shoulder, fingers gripping light, a tether I didn't want to break in that charged moment. "No one knows, ever. Swear it again, Leo, or we end this cold. Right here. No looking back," I whispered, voice tight, the studio's hum swallowing the world beyond us as thunder rolled outside the walls. "Ours, hidden, locked. I swear, Anna, always, no matter what comes next," he breathed, hand firm, eyes burning into mine, sealing it with a weight that pressed against my chest. We stayed there, locked, still, his breath sinking with mine, his arm brushing my side, a secret humming low and deep, binding us in the studio's shadowed heart as the storm raged on.